Good morning. It is good to see all of you today. I'm Jocelyn, OUUC Media Specialist. I use they, them, or she, her pronouns. Welcome to all who are joining us on whatever platform you are using. I am so excited to let you know that we are using some new tech equipment in the sanctuary today, including a pan-tilt zoom camera and professional video production software. It's my hope that these upgrades will enhance our experience both online and when we gather in the building. These features are new to all of us, and we appreciate your patience during this phase of learning. If you experience any technical issues during the service, you can reach out to me or any other member of the tech team for assistance when the Zoom chat is on. Last, I hope you will find a candle or a chalice, and in a moment we can light them together. We appreciate your grace and adaptability as we all remember it's about connection, not perfection.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's try that again, shall we? Good morning. It's good to be met together, and let's sing together. We're going to start by singing our morning song, which is hymn number 1007 out of the Till Hymn Book. You can also find the lyrics posted in the chat. There's a river flowing in my soul.
Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation online worship service. We welcome each of you to this celebration of love and to this congregation. The OUUC community comes together in the mutual promises and possibilities of our covenant. We envision an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to living out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge, and become. We are so glad that you are here today. My name is Curtis Tanner. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is the Reverend Monica Jacobson Tennyson. Reverend Monica uses she, her pronouns. She currently serves as the minister at the Community UU Church in Pasco, Washington, and has previously served congregations in Massachusetts and Oregon. Reverend Monica is a Meadville Lombard Theological School alumna and a graduate of the Still Harbor Spiritual Direction Program. She currently lives in DuPont, Washington with her spouse, 9-year-old daughter, and 2 mischievous Siamese cats. Also with us today is Troy Fisher, our music director, and Sarah Lewis, the director of Community and Faith Development. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to the breakout room hosts, the tech team members, and to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have the opportunity to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Monica. For those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. This is a chance to gather with a small group to say hello and check in. Each breakout room will be hosted by someone to help make sure everyone knows each other and has a chance to share. We hope you'll join the discussion wherever you are. A reminder of the many events happening today. After the service, join Reverend Mary and Sarah for the monthly Q&A on the topic of cultural appropriation. Bring your questions with an open mind and heart. Then, come by OUUC for a food drive from 1 to 2 p.m. We are collecting items for the food bank, as well as items to replenish the hygiene pantry at L.P. Brown Elementary School. After the drive-through at 2 p.m., join Interfaith Works for Resetting Our Sacred Table. This virtual community gathering offers spiritual and musical contributions from OUUC, as well as other congregations and members of the Squaxin Island Tribe. You can find the Facebook Live link on the Interfaith Works website. Save the dates. The holiday book sale to benefit Help Us Move In is happening December 2nd through the 5th. The bookshop is open for preview peeks, and you can find the link in the Tuesday update. We have over 3,000 titles for you to choose from. Please start spreading the word to family and friends. We can use more help making this happen smoothly and efficiently. Contact Susan Dotson to volunteer. Last, the Environmental Action Team has a message to share.
Hey, Ryan and Murphy here with the Environmental Action Team's monthly challenge. November's theme is 68 or below. We're asking you to set your thermostat to 68 or below and to winterize your home. Why do this? Well, first of all, you can save energy. And if that's not incentive enough, you can save money. Even a 1-degree drop can reduce your energy bill by up to 3%, and dropping the temp by 5 to 10 degrees when you're asleep can lower your energy bill by up to 15%. So how do you do this? Well, first of all, wear a sweater instead of turning up your thermostat. 2, let the sun in during the day and close your curtains at night. 3, use a programmable thermostat adjusted to your schedule to drop temperatures when you're asleep or away from home. 4, check for drafty doors and windows and use weather stripping and caulking where possible to eliminate drafts. 5, if you have a ceiling fan, check for a reverse switch that produces an updraft, pulling cool air up and pushing warm air down. Number 6, after using the oven, leave the door open to let all that leftover heat warm your kitchen. Number 7, and my personal favorite, snuggle with a dog, cat, or other warm-blooded critter of your choice. What do you think, Murph? Yeah, I love you too, buddy.
There are many opportunities to stay connected to our community. Please check the website regularly. If you have questions or need help, please check in with a staff member. Now, let us open our hearts and our minds as we prepare for worship. Welcome, everyone. It is good to be together. This morning and every Sunday morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. Please join me as we light our chalices together with these words by Reverend Petar Samoiski, a Czech Unitarian minister. May this flame we light remind us that every one of us can bring the light of love to the world. May this clear flame be a symbol that every heart can burn bright with joy, peace, and harmony. May the wisdom of ages speak to us through this flame and stay in us. Every one of us can be a blessing to the world.
Thank you, Curtis. Our opening words this morning are adapted from the words of the Reverend Elizabeth Tarbox. And so I say, ours is a story of faith and hope and love. I say it is our need for one another that binds us together, that brings us laughing and limping into relationships and keeps us at it when we otherwise might despair at the fix we are in. I say it is the holy we need, the eternal beyond our comprehension, and one place we can find it is here, working and worshiping together. And I say there is a transcendent value worthy of our loyalty, upon which we may set our hearts, and its divine manifestation is love. With faith, hope, and love, come, let us worship together.
Let's sing together our opening hymn. It's hymn number 7, The Leaf Unfurling, and I don't believe we've ever sung this here at OUUC. It's a beautiful hymn. I will play it through one time completely, and then we will sing all 3 verses. You can also find the lyrics posted in the chat.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Lewis, and I use she, her pronouns. And the story that I have to share with you today was written by Carrie Kopnick, inspired by a song by Meg Barnhouse. Pat was 8 years old, and a lot of things in their life had been kind of piling up to make them sad recently. Pat's teacher, Miss Smith, was going to go on maternity leave, and Pat was really glad for Miss Smith, but also would really, really miss her. And then Pat's best friend Joe was moving away, and Pat wasn't sure who they would sit with for lunch or play with at recess.
And then they found out that the summer camp that they look forward to all year long had just been canceled. And so they got up that morning and they came downstairs. Their brother was already up playing with his Lego robotics kit in the living room. And when brother looked at Pat, brother said, "Oh, Pat, you just look so sad. You look like the picture of sadness." And in Pat's family, they had a special way that they had worked out that they would be together when somebody was sad. And so Pat's brother asked, "Do you want me to cheer you up? Or do you want to tell me what's making you sad? Or would you just like me to keep you company?" And Pat thought about it and then said, "I'd like you to cheer me up." And so Pat's brother did the 5 funny noises with his mouth that he knew how to do, which made Pat giggle and feel just a little bit better. And then Pat's brother said, "Let's sing the Be Well song." And so they sang it together. "All will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well." And then brother went back to the Lego robotics, and Pat went to get some breakfast. And as they were pouring the milk on their cereal, Pat's mom came downstairs and saw Pat there in the kitchen and said, "Oh, Pat, you look really sad. Are you feeling sad?" And Pat said, "Yeah, I'm really sad." And Pat's mom said, "Well, do you want me to cheer you up? Or do you want to tell me about it? Or do you want me to keep you company?" And Pat thought about it and then said, I'd like to talk to you about it, but Pat also knew Mom needed her coffee first. So Mom got her coffee, and then they sat down together, and Pat told her, "Oh, my teacher, Miss Smith, is going to be on maternity leave, and Joe is moving away, and summer camp was canceled." And Mom just listened to it all. And when Pat was done sharing, Mom said, "Well, would you like to sing the All Will Be Well song together?" And Pat said, "Yeah, let's do that." And so they looked at each other, and they sat there at the breakfast table, and they sang, "All will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well." Pat was feeling better, and it was time for Mom to get on with getting ready for work. But she was still there to listen, even as she needed to head off to go to work. And then Pat is one of these very lucky kids who gets to live with a grandparent. And so just then, Grandma came in from the garden where she had been out working all morning, and she brought in a big, giant bowl of strawberries that she had picked in the garden. And when she came into the kitchen and saw Pat, she said, "Oh, Pat, you look a little sad. Are you feeling a little sad?" And once again, Pat said, "Yes." And Grandma repeated the family questions. "Do you want me to cheer you up? Or do you want to talk to me about it? Or do you just want some company?" And this time Pat thought for a while and then said, "I think I just want some company." And so Grandma just sat there, and they ate probably more strawberries than they should have, and were just quiet together. Grandma just kept Pat company. And then after a while, Pat said, "I think I'm ready to just sing the song now." And so they sang together, "All will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well." And then Grandma went on about the rest of her day. And Pat was still sad, but that was okay, and Pat wasn't alone. Thus ends our story.
We came together in community this morning, bringing all that is in our lives. In this space, we draw on the strength of the community to listen deeply and hold all that we bring here with us. In this space, we share from our hearts what brings us joy and sorrow, and what brings us worry and delight, what makes us afraid and what makes us dance. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life, our own and others. If you would like to send in something to share, please look for the link on the online worship page on the OUUC website, and we'll bring it into the service next week. You will hear a drum beat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat together and we create the heartbeat of our community. Right now, I invite you to take a breath. As we open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and our community today. Yesterday, November 20th, was Trans Day of Remembrance, a day when we mourn with our trans siblings and queer folk all over the world. We honor with love and deep loss all of those who have suffered and died because of anti-trans violence and culture. We acknowledge that this violence disproportionately impacts transgender women of color. We offer care to each other and our communities as we continue to work for justice in a world where all can be who they truly are. As we process this verdict against Kyle Rittenhouse, a young white man who murdered 2 pro-BLM protesters, may we come together to call for healing, justice, well-being, and true community safety for all in Wisconsin, Olympia, and throughout the nation. Our faith insists that any system that works to erode our full humanity is unjust and harmful and must be changed. Unitarian Universalism urges us to dedicate our hearts and our life forces towards undoing our culture of supremacy and creating a world in which every single person has the ability to live free and thrive. I invite you to share from your heart by entering into the chat on your screen. This is a time to share all that you wish, joys and sorrows and whatever else is shared from the heart. As we take in what is posted, let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. We place a stone in the water for all that has been shared from the heart, a stone holding the complexity of our lives held in the water of community. We will place one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken.
Please join with me in a moment of reflection or prayer or meditation, whatever is the best practice for you this morning. Spirit of life, source of love, great mystery known to us by many names and by none. We come today bringing all that we are, bringing all the lives which touch ours, knowing how deeply interconnected we are and how much we need each other. We come carrying hope and fear and uncertainty. We come in loss and in celebration. And in these times when we still cannot be together as we were before, help us to remember that we are not alone. We are still connected. And in that, may we find some comfort, some strength, and some joy. May it be so. Let us share a few moments in silence.
Let's sing together hymn number 389, Gathered Here. We'll sing it once together, and then we'll break into a round twice through. The words can be found in the chat.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here as one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here as one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near.
Our prayers and meditations deepen our gratitude for what we know as sacred in our lives and in this world. Each Sunday, we express our gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. The offering collected here does two things. It supports the ongoing work of OUUC, which is also supported by your regular pledges. This offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. For the months of November and December, our Share the Plate recipient is the Mayday Foundation. They provide immediate, practical financial support to local families coping with cancer while raising kids at home. We have a message to share with you about their work.
OUUC. My name is Amy Rowley. I use the she, her pronouns, and I am the executive director of the Mayday Foundation. I am so appreciative of spending a couple minutes of your time today to share with you about the Mayday Foundation. And I wanted to start by just saying how grateful and thankful I am for your generosity today as part of Share the Plate. The Mayday Foundation provides immediate, practical financial support to local families coping with cancer while raising kids at home. Our service area is primarily Thurston County, but we also support families in Mason, Lewis, and Grace Harbor County. This year alone, we've supported 17 families, which represents 32 kids. They've been able to stay in their homes and not be forced into bankruptcy or have to move while coping with a devastating cancer diagnosis. Our Family Support Fund covers household expenses, things like rent, mortgage, utilities, gas, and groceries for families while they're dealing with their cancer. We're meant to be a short-term stopgap until families can figure out their long-term financial budget, maybe going from 2 incomes down to 1, or just having to shift around some of their spending habits. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in April of 2017. I had no family history of breast cancer, and so it really caught me off guard. During my year of treatment, I realized just how challenging it is to be a cancer patient, be a spouse, be a parent, be an employee, all of those aspects. And so I started the Mayday Foundation as a way to help other local families that are in the same situation that I found myself in. The Mayday Foundation has been in existence since January 2018, and we are supported through individual contributions, corporate donations, giving groups like yours, and also with some grant funding. Our main fundraiser happens in May, surprisingly on May Day, and it is flowers that are delivered throughout the county. So if that sounds like something fun that you'd like to get more involved in, I'd encourage you to check out maydayfoundation.org. Again, that's maydayfoundation.org, and you can learn more about the organization. Thank you again so much for letting the Mayday Foundation be part of Share the Plate. Take care.
Please note that you can participate in the offering by making a donation online, through the church website, or by texting the number that will appear on your screen in just a moment. You can also mail a check to OUUC. We are reminded that we know that our financial contributions come from sacrifice and hard work. With gratitude, we commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. May this offering sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation. May we give in love and hope. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
I said, Julian, you were holding my hand. I said, Julian, you about disease. She said no one does not know about cruelty, but I know it's too much. It brought me to my knees, where I heard all will be well, and all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And all will be well, and all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She said, little one, do you not know about tenderness? Oh, little one, do you not know about friends? I said, little one, do you not know about the Spirit? It's only love that never ends. And so all will be well, and all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, and all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
Thank you for your generous gifts. And thank you, Lynn and Liz and Troy, for your beautiful gift of music. Today's reading is That Which Holds All by Nancy Schaefer. Because she wanted everyone to feel included in her prayer, she said right at the beginning several names for the holy. Spirit, she said, Holy One, Mystery, God. But then, thinking these weren't enough ways of addressing that which cannot be fully addressed, she added particularities, saying, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Ancient Holy One, mystery we will never fully know, gracious God, and also Spirit of this earth, God of Pat, Gaia, Thou. And then, tongue loosened, she fell to naming superlatives as well. Most creative one, greatest source, closest hope. Even those superlatives for the sacred seemed to her probably redundant, but then she couldn't stop. One who made the stars, she said, although she knew technically a number of those present didn't believe the stars had just been made by any one or thing, but just luckily happened. One who is an entire ocean of compassion, she said, but no one laughed. That which has been present since before the beginning, she said, and the room was silent. Then, although she hadn't imagined it this way, others began to offer names. Peace, said one. One my mother knew, said another. Ancestor, said a third. Wind, rain, breath, said one near the back. Refuge, that which holds all. A child said water. Someone said Kuan Yin. Then womb, witness, great kindness, great eagle, eternal stillness. And then there wasn't any need to say the things she thought she would be important to say. And everyone sat hushed until someone said, Amen. This ends our reading.
I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, and all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She said, little one, do you not know
Thank you once more to our musicians. And thank you, Curtis, for reading that beautiful poem. Before we begin to consider mysticism, it's important to remember that the divine, that which is transcendent, is known to us by many names and by none, sometimes with a personality and sometimes without. I invite you to translate to whatever understanding is most meaningful for you. In the first 12 months of the pandemic, I thought often about Julian of Norwich. I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and in the Northeast, the pandemic raged in the cities of Boston and New York with high transmission rates and worrisome case counts and heartbreaking numbers of deaths. So there was a lot of staying home and living a contained life. And you may have done a lot of staying home too. One day, I was speaking with the religious educator with whom I served, and she mentioned that she was reading about Julian of Norwich. "Oh," I said, "the anchorite who gave us, 'All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well.' Julian the mystic." "Yes," my colleague said. "Did you know that she lived through a plague?" I had not known that. Nor had I known that she lived through socioeconomic disruptions, civil upheaval, and a second wave of plague. I have learned since then that while a lot of what we think we know about Julian is inferred, we can know some things about the circumstances of her life. She probably lived her whole life in the city of Norwich in England, from about 1343 to sometime after the year 1416. That means the plague known as the Black Death would have come through when she was a child, and it killed 75% of the local population. A second plague came through again when Julian was 19 or 20 years old. In the common culture of that place and time, illness and death would often have been understood as a punishment for sin in the community. But such an explanation might have fallen apart for Julian in the face of so many deaths of so many kinds and ages of people. This may have been an opening for her to wonder if that story about sin was not really true. We know that Julian was very ill in the year 1373 when she was 30 years old. And this experience of illness included mystical visions. We know that she was alive in 1381 when most of England was impacted by the Peasants' Revolt, which grew out of economic inequality, high taxes to finance wars, and frustration with dysfunctional governance. Is this sounding a little bit familiar? And in the midst of all this, Julian wrote that she received the message, "All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of thing shall be well." She came to understand this message and her other visions as being rooted in love. She heard the voice of Jesus, a central figure for her as a Christian, saying, "Wouldst thou know thy Lord's meaning?" Love was his meaning. Who showed it thee? Love. What showed he thee? Love. Why did he show it thee? For love. In other words, today we might move past the gendered and the hierarchical language and say, why did you have a mystic vision? To better understand the love that surrounds and holds us all. Julian became an anchorite, a religious person who chooses to live life confined in a small space, the better to focus on praying for the common good and offering wisdom to the community. Julian's mystic visions, despite all the challenge and grief and struggle of the world around her, inspired her to dedicate her life to being a channel for love. Mystics show up in many times and many places and many religious traditions. So here is a little more from the perspective of Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, who has written this definition. He says, a mystic is anyone who has the gnawing suspicion that the apparent discord, brokenness, contradictions, and discontinuities that assault us every day might conceal a hidden unity. And he gives us 4 criteria for identifying a mystical moment. First, it is transcendent. The mystic experience comes and then it goes. Second, you cannot make these moments happen. We might say that it's not that you have the experience, it's that the experience has you. Third, the mystic experience is noetic, meaning that there is intellectual content to it, a sense of knowing, but also, fourth, it is ineffable, meaning that it is very difficult to put into words. Julian of Norwich pondered her mystical visions for 20 years before writing a long text about them. Mysticism is not easy to articulate. Not long ago, I was listening to an episode of On Being, the radio show and podcast in which folks are interviewed about topics such as what it means to be human, how to practice hope, and how they understand the world. The interviewee was Kate Bowler, a theologian, a professor at Duke University, and a cancer survivor. She wrote a book about her sudden diagnosis with stage 4 cancer at the age of 35, titled Everything Happens for a Reason and Other Lies I've Loved. Now, Kate Bowler is someone who has been severely ill in her 30s, like Julian. She is still alive today, 6 years in, and she knows herself to be living amidst uncertainty with an unpromised future. And like Julian, she found herself having mystical experiences. She writes of her early days with cancer. It seemed too odd and too simplistic to say what I knew to be true, that when I was sure I was going to die, I didn't feel angry, I felt loved. Even in lucid moments, I found my feelings so difficult to explain. At a time when I should have felt abandoned by God, I was not reduced to ashes. I felt like I was floating on the love and prayers of all those who hummed around me like worker bees, bringing notes and flowers and warm socks and quilts embroidered with words of encouragement. To be clear, Bowler had plenty of moments of feeling angry and despairing. She shares those candidly in her book, along with her frustration about people who tried to comfort her and totally missed the point. Her grief at the thought of not seeing her son grow up, and her appreciation for friends and family who never stopped making jokes. It is a raw and honest memoir in many ways. In that On Being interview, Wajahat Ali asks Kate Bowler how she can still be a person of faith and an optimist in light of, well, everything. In her answer, Bowler names first that there are different kinds of time that we experience. There's tragic time, when a crisis happens and everything is heightened because so many high-stakes choices are required. In tragic time, you're acutely aware of how precious everything and everyone you love is. This is not a kind of time we can live in for long because it's so demanding. Then, of course, there is ordinary time, the commonplace stuff of living, sending emails and making phone calls and picking someone up from the train. Ordinary time is always there, interlaced, even when we are experiencing tragic time. And then, Kate Bowler says, there is something that we've all experienced together very recently, which is apocalyptic time. It's the feeling that we know the future is not guaranteed. We experience apocalypticism with our environment, like wildfires and global warming. We experience the apocalyptic time when we see the scope and the magnitude of racial injustice, as we understand that structures are not just broken, but that they collapse in on people. And in all these forms of time, she says, we have this feeling like we're seeing things as they really are. It's like that feeling when you count your kids' eyelashes and you think, I see the whole world in just right now. But the truth is, all of these forms of time are true, and we must toggle between them all the time. We just can't live in any one version for too long, frankly, without not really seeing the scope of what the wholeness of our lives requires. Bowler's words remind me of a practice I heard named recently as penduluming, swinging like a pendulum, remembering that it's important that we are awake and aware about the struggle and the suffering in the world, and it's also important to immerse ourselves in beauty and nature. We can't live with all our focus in just one portion of life. For every piece of brokenness we hold and work to heal in our own lives and in our society and in the great life of our planet, we need reminders that joy and wonder and gratitude are also here. In light of all this, finally, here's what Bowler says about being an optimist. I think about being an incurable optimist as being, fundamentally, a story about hope. And it's hope for me, it's hope for you. That hope is a story about all of us that God puts in the future, ever before us and always with us and always behind us. But it moves in that beautiful way so that we will someday be wrapped up in a story about love that is beyond time and beyond our bodies and beyond finitude and beyond tears. And that will be really beautiful. But in the meantime, it was always about all of us, that we belong to each other in a way that makes hope not really just about whether I get a cure and my life works out. It's about whether you feel yourself as part of this wild project of love. This wild project of love. Whether or not you are a theist, you can certainly be a mystic and an optimist. In these days when we are so vividly aware of so much that is broken and unjust, it is sustenance for our souls to also open ourselves to beauty, to hope, and to the love that holds us all. It's been true for hundreds of years, and it's true now. Underneath it all, known by many names and by none, often beyond words, there is a unity of love. May we be open to that love. Let us share a few moments in silence.
Let's join together in singing our closing hymn. It's hymn number 108 out of the Gray Hymnal. My life flows on in endless song, and you can find the lyrics also posted in the chat.
We extinguish our chalices today with these words by Reverend Richard Gilbert. We are, therefore we love. We love, therefore we are. May we be humble before the wonder of what we dare to create. may we move in peace.
Let's sing together our Unison Benediction. The lyrics can be found in the order of service.
Thank you all for sharing today's service. If you are new to OUUC, we'd love to hear from you. You can fill out a visitor card at the link in the chat. Please stay online if you'd like to join in virtual coffee and conversation. You'll see an invitation pop up that will invite you to join a breakout room. Please introduce yourself there to anyone you don't know. If you are not planning to stay for coffee chat, it helps us divide evenly if you find the red Leave Meeting button and step out. These coffee chat breakout rooms will end after about 20 minutes, and we'll warn you 1 minute before we end. And we hope you will come back to the main room for today's Q&A session with Sarah and Reverend Mary. Thank you for building community today.